What's happening, my friends? What's good? How y'all doing today on this Friday? That's right. Gotta get this show on the road. What's happening, y'all? What's happening? How's everybody feeling on this Friday? Good? Okay, that's great. That's great. Well, you know what? I'm just so hyped because you are now tuning in to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin podcast. I am your host, Arrington Gavin, your friend, your homie, here on this lovely Friday. Coming to you again with the new episode every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. This show is presented by Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Rugged is the new smooth. Rugged Evolution Beard Care is an all natural men's grooming line here to cater to all facial hair types, textures. It's just time to make sure we keep our uh, facial hair cleansed and moisturized and all that great stuff, y'all. Like I say before, take care of your body internally, but as well as externally. So again, Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Their slogan is "Rugged is the new smooth." All right, guys, look, coming to you with some more great discussions. I'm always excited to just sit down, kick back, and just talk with you, the listeners, the viewers, people that I truly appreciate your support. Um, we continue to see a climb in our viewerships and our listenerships on this podcast. This was something I just wanted to take a leap of faith on. One thing, you know me, I'm always a person that loves to talk. I'm a long-winded individual, so I love to talk and just have a conversation with people because I consider myself a conversationalist. I learn so much amongst conversation. People with same opinions, different ethnicities and nationalities. It's always great to just sit down and have a conversation. I always say that a lot of the world's issues can be dealt with by just a simple conversation, maybe over drinks or over a cigar, you name it. That's we can make that happen. Um, let's get it going with our first topic of today. Um, so I was reading up on this article. This was reported by the ABC News. With talking about a black high school student suspended in Texas because of dreadlocks. Now, once again, I'm preparing myself with the frustration because if you don't recall, there is an act called the Crown Act, and the Crown Act was created for people to not be discriminated by their crown, their hairstyle in the workplace. And the people that were behind that Crown Act uh end up winning. I believe they won a Oscar for like a short film in regards to just talking about uh people of color, their styles, their textures. And I just pulled up the Crown Act. Give me 1 second. Okay, now this is on the website of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And it states, okay, the Crown Act, creating a respectful and open world for natural hair. Now, together with Crown Coalition, the LDF is fighting to end hair discrimination and advocating for the Crown Act to become law in all 50 states. The Crown Act would change that the legalization demands protection against race-based hair discrimination in the workplace and in K through 12 public and charter schools based on hair texture and protective styles. Now, as of 2023, the Crown Act has been enacted in 22 states. Now, the Legal Defense Fund is a proud member of the Crown Coalition, a group of 80 plus community and advocacy organizations that have done significant work to drive real actionable change to push for the passion of the Crown Act in all 50 states. So, okay, that was new news for me. I did not know this was not involved in all 50 states. It's only been 22 as of right now. And so they're continuing to push the Crown Act in all 50 states. Now, I'm looking at another article with or another story with Texas Governor Greg Abbott, because I mentioned story that has happened in Texas. It says, okay, okay, so the governor of Texas signed the Crown Act into law on Saturday, May 27th. A new law will go into effect on September 1st, 2023, and will prohibit race-based discrimination in Texas, joining Alaska, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Mississippi, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nebraska, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Tennessee, Virginia. I was waiting for you to come, Virginia, and then Washington. So this has already been passed in Texas. So to read up more on this article, a Black Texas high school student has been facing an in-school suspension, ISS for short, for weeks because school officials said that his dreadlocks violated their dress and grooming code. Now, the gentleman's name, Daryl George, a junior at Barbers Hill High School, is Mount Bellevue, has been sitting on a small stool at school every school day since August 31st. Back aching, and he receives his work online or through a classmate, according to his mother. She stated that every day my son comes home with tears in his eyes. He's frustrated, he's outraged, aggravated, and it's breaking him down mentally, physically, and emotionally. The mother told ABC News, I have to see him taking ibuprofen because his back hurts. So reading up, I don't even need to read the remainder. I'll start reading more into what, this conversation. I'll just share my first thoughts on this is that, once again, discrimination at its finest, because to my knowledge, this is a public school. And I just read before I went into this article about the Crown Act. The Crown Act was a law that was put in place for discrimination against hair textures, styles in the workplace, and public and charter schools. So this right here is already a wrongful suspension because they're stating that it's against his dress code of their school policy. So that's why they suspended him. First and foremost, what is the issue with the hairstyle? Now, please look up this article. This is reported again by ABC News. Black high school student suspended in Texas because of dreadlocks. What is the issue with the hairstyle? And what pisses me off again, because even in my line of work, like my business is all about enhancing and promoting great facial hair, beards, right? I'm in men's grooming. This gentleman's hairstyle is clean. It's his style is unique. It's not offending anybody. Doesn't look wild and all around the place, because it's different from coming to a workplace or coming to school looking like you just came out the dumpster, and then compared to someone that made the effort of cleaning themselves up, making sure they look sharp and all, just great for school. The reason why this irritates me, because I can remember when I was in private school, we had certain hair policies and facial hair policies. No facial hair was allowed, and no hair longer than below your ears. As for the guys, of course, girls had long hairs. I think girls rules were, no skirts above the knees, no open toe shoes. Well, that was for the open toe shoes for men and women, but that was just some of the policies I can remember for the girls. But as for the guys, I'm like, why does our facial hair, if we keep it, we're just kids for one, so puberty hits. I mean, it's not like we grow whoosh with a full-fledged beard. But what is the issue? What are you trying to teach the kids, that out here in America they're not going to hire you because of this hairstyle? Good luck with that, kid. You're gonna once you graduate, you're not gonna succeed because you happen to be rocking dreads or dreadlocks, excuse me, locks. What is the message? Where's the issue fall into play in this? Now, this is Texas. I love Texas. I've been there a few times. I've haven't had any issues with at all. But is this a school administration issue? What is the issue with this gentleman's hair? And for him to now be in suspension since August of 31st. Now today is September 22nd. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. To read a little more, I'm trying to get some more info on Facebook. Let's see here. And no child, I'll just be honest, no child should be saying, hey, look, I need some ibuprofen for my back because I've been sitting in a stool. First of all, in school suspension now, I did it once, back when I was a heathen in middle school. That was it was pretty much like detention. They put you in a room, you sat down there, and you were basically like in solitary confinement. That's literally how it felt like for an extent, because you didn't have any classmates. You got your assignments, you did work, and that was it. Of course, you had your lunch and this and that and the other, but there was really no interaction with your friends and classmates because you were in trouble. Let's see here. Says here his schoolwork and grades are being affected because he is not getting the benefit of complete instruction from his teachers to complete his assignments. This is really sad because you're now forcing this kid to struggle because of an issue with his hair. What is the deal? I remember a long time ago there was a video of, I believe, a middle school or high school wrestling match where the individual, who was a person of color, he was forced to cut his locks because the ref had told him if he doesn't cut the locks, you have to forfeit this match. And because he didn't want to let his team down, he took one for the team and competed, but they cut his locks to the point they looked hideous. And I was pissed at the coach because the coach didn't stand up for him. And a lot of people did. A lot of people were irritated because the coach should have fought harder for that reason. Because now you're just affecting the fact that no, there has to be another way. There has to be, and even other refs were like, I never heard of that policy before. What's the dealio? So that was a separate story. But back to this one in Texas, we continue to hear stories like this pretty often, whether it's in the workplace or in school. It's been a long time since we've heard, at least for me, since I've read or heard a story like this. It breaks my heart. It again brings the conversation of, okay, so are people really do judge a book by its cover and not by their skill set or their talent? Is it all about, hey, we got to make sure we look good? Because I say it all the time when it comes to people that can grow facial hair, but they're like, nah, I don't want to, because I always get, well, I'm not going to grow it out because it itches, it bothers me. Okay, that's cool, but it only itches if you don't take care of your skin. Itching comes from dry and dead skin. So yes, it's going to irritate, but using a great product, hint, Revolution Beer Care. hint, taking care of that takes care of that issue. Now, when I hear about like, well, no, I work in this line of work, I got to keep it close. Now, if you're not a firefighter, then I don't want to hear it. If you work in corporate America, why can't men show facial hair working in corporate America? It's all about the skill set. The skill set should be the one that matters the most and not the image. I'm trying to get, okay, and it says right here, which I just read before, okay, Texas enacted the Crown Act on September 1, making it unlawful to discriminate against protective hairstyles in schools. Any student dress or grooming policy adopted by a school district, including a student dress or grooming policy for any extracurricular activity, may not discriminate against a hair texture or protective hairstyles commonly or historically associated with race, according to the Crown Act. Protective hairstyles includes braids, locks, and twists. And just to let you know, the Crown Act, it means creating a respectful and open world for natural hair, which was, I'm still trying to figure out. Let's see here. What was here? I should get my notes in ahead of time, huh? But this is a conversation. I want to make sure I'm getting the right stuff for you guys. What was here? Sure. Now, this was said by Dr. Dr. Candace Matthews, the statewide vice chair of the Texas Coalition of Black Democrats and supporter of the George family. Barbers Hill is showing their racism once again showing their complete defiance of Texas law. She says again, you don't have to like the law, but you have to follow it because, one, we do not tell white people how to wear their hair. Hello. So you're not going to disenfranchise our people and tell us how to wear our hair. Has a great point. Because when it comes to different cultures, texture is easy to adjust a Caucasians or white individuals' hairstyles. Sometimes their hair is more softer. You might run into curly hairs here and there, but usually their hair is more softer, so it's easy to tolerate, easy to fix up, tie it up, whatever. It's different for our black queens because again, different textures. And I say black queens because it's majority of black queens will have a different texture hair than white individuals, men as well. So this is okay. This is what the school district had to say. Barbers Hill Independent School District told ABC News that their dress and grooming code does not conflict with the Crown Act. It doesn't. Okay. The Barbers Hill ISD dress code and grooming codes permits protective hairstyles, but any hairstyle must be in the conformity with the requirement that male students' hair will not extend at any time below the eyebrows or below their earlobes. Again, they showed the individual's hairstyle. It is not below his eyebrows or his earlobes. So once again, what is the issue? Because even if his locks did come down, he says, "Well, look, let me just change it up." That is not, look, when it's here above, when it's here on the side, bro, this is just, they're not saving themselves. You can again go on social media, you can see it yourself. Pull up this. This is disgusting, and I really do hope that justice is served in this act because again, the law was passed. The act was passed in the state of Texas. The school should abide, and the school should suffer, whether if it's a fine or they need to. Ooh, they need to pay. They need to pay him some money. Family needs to get paid. The school needs to be fined. Hell, the school might need to even be closed down and go into another route, because if that's what they're going to be doing to their students of color, of their hair textures, then you know what, y'all shouldn't even be existing in school. Because again, what are you teaching a group of students, the next generation? What are you teaching them? And you want to notice why mental health continues to rise, right? Why suicide rate rises, why so many issues in this world continues to occur. It's ridiculous. All right, guys, I'm gonna move on to another convo. Let me see here. Let me see here. Okay, this also caught my eye as well. Um, Alabama band director tased after football game says no educator should ever have to experience that. Now, there's a video that surfaced over social media of a band director continuing to tell his students to keep on playing after countless of people and I believe officers had said you have to stop playing. You have to stop playing. So now this is reported by CNN News. The Alabama band director who was shot by a police stun gun and arrested after refusing to stop his band's performance at a high school football game said the post game songs had been arranged ahead of time and the whole experience has left him traumatized. Let's see here. Let's see here. In a news conference, it said I should have never been tased. Okay, this is the band director himself, Johnny Mims. I should have never been tased. It was excessive. No educator should ever have to experience that. Mims said he is most concerned for the students who had to witness the incident, saying they are the most important thing in this situation. It's heartbreaking, it's traumatizing, it's difficult. He said, there's no way to explain how I'm doing because I know that my students are hurting. Now, after the incident, Mims was taken to the University of Alabama at Birmingham Hospital and then to the Birmingham City Jail, where he was booked and later bonded out. Officers obtained arrest warrants for disorderly conduct, harassment, and resisting arrest, police said. Now, regardless, this was provided by Mims' attorney. Regardless of how this may have started, there's nothing that happened that would have warranted my client being tased multiple times, even while on the ground, like some total criminal at the point in front of 145 students. The kids were traumatized. Now, I'm going to move on to see exactly when this all occurred. Let me see. They had okay, I'm trying to let's see here. Still not okay. Okay, so says that this happened 18 minutes after the game was over. Because there is no game. You even can look on the opposite end of the field. It's not like it's really not anybody in the other side of the stands. Let's see here. The main question that everybody's asking, for one, who's at fault, law enforcement or the band director? Now, I have been to plenty of high school sporting events, basketball and football. I say those two sports because they both will have like pep bands at their games. You can only play your music at certain times, so I think half times, whenever there's a timeout period, uh they usually will play as well when people are exiting. That I do know. Um, but the question is again, who's at fault? Was it necessary to tase him multiple times? Um, hmm, 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 hmm. This is a scratcher for me. It really was. I couldn't even with officers. He were. It's a lot of verbiage being spoken. I'm trying not to read every single word verbatim, but he was refused. Hold on. Police shows confrontation. Okay. Body cam video shows multiple officers telling Mims to end the performance while the band director repeats, "Get out my face. Get out my face." Okay. Now he's saying that to law enforcement. Just keep that in mind. We're fixing the go. This is our last song, Mims then tells the officers. When one officer threatens, "You will go to jail," Mims respond with a thumbs up and says, "That's cool." Okay. The stadium's field lights are then turned off. So even whoever's in charge of field is saying it's time to go. It's time to go. Field lights are turned off and the band concludes its song. Okay. When Mims steps off the platform and struggles in shoes between him and the officers as they appear to try to handcuff him while he yells, get off me." Now, this is what the body cam says. Because this is what the video had, is explaining in verbiage. So he told him to get out my face. He told law enforcement. The officer said, "You're gonna go to jail." Mims responds with a thumbs up and says, "That's cool." So he is aware that he's going to jail. Okay. They begin to handcuff him while he yells, "Get off me." Okay. He hit the officer. Then, he hit the officer. He got to go to jail. One officer is heard saying he swing on an officer. He swing on the officer. Okay, boom. He swings on the officer. Mims is then heard replying, he did not swing on the officer as the struggle continues. Seconds later, an officer uses a taser on Mims, bringing him to the ground as panic screams around heard from the crowd around him. The video has raised questions about use of police force. This would dare not have happened at a majority white school in the state of Alabama, Gavin said. But you would dare tase a black man in a black school in the city of Birmingham, which is majority a black city. The Birmingham Police Department Internal Affairs Division investigates all incidents where an officer uses force during an arrest. This is a lot to think, guys. This is a lot to digest. Before I say too much, because again, this story will continue, and we will eventually see who's innocent, who's guilty, so on and so on. First thing I would say is I am pro people, and I'm also pro cops. If an incident occurs, when you call for help, who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters? No, you're gonna call law enforcement. So I want to already acknowledge that, because I do think that there is a huge division between community and law enforcement. It is, because I have my frustration with law enforcement as well. Just on some of, we've seen some of the stories out there where it's like, okay, dude, why are you being this aggressive? Why that was uncalled for? Why did you gun down an unarmed person? We always hear the stories, right? But we should also acknowledge too, when we should also acknowledge that it's not always on law enforcement. The gentleman was told to leave. It was time to go. He was told that. He refused. He then told one of the officers to get out my face. Now, he might have never said it in a boastful term. He might have never yelled, "Get out my face, man. Get out my face. Get out my face." All right. Getting out my face is not a friendly term to say to anybody. You might as well say, "Get the F out my face," or, F out of here. You know what I mean? So it's already, tensions are starting to turn. Don't piss off a cop, because see, now you're interfering with the law. Now I will say that there needs to be some adjustment when it comes to protocols and training, because I do think that there's officers that will be extremely aggressive to the point where it's like, okay, you're doing too much. Y'all need to work on a different reaction or different kind of system y'all should do. That's just in my opinion, y'all. That's just my opinion. He said, "Hey, look," he told the band director, "You're gonna go to jail. You gotta go to jail." Uh, he's like, "That's cool." So now, could the officer had not cuffed him, or if could he escort him to to the car without him being cuffed? Yes, but again, the mouth, the back and forth was going off. He obviously was pissed, and he's like, okay, so he's now telling me what to do, or telling me the orders. Okay, I remember that. I'm gonna just cuff him. Now the guy said, "Get off me," start yelling, "Get off me." Once you yell, "Get off me," to them, that's like, okay, now you're resisting an arrest. That's one offense. Now, the swinging, I've seen bits and pieces of the video. I have not seen the incident where they actually tased him. I was watching the videos where he would still continue to tell the band to keep on playing. If he did swing, because now there's an officer saying that, and then there's the person saying he didn't swing. Now there's no video of showing, I believe, him swinging. There is, and I could be wrong, but I think that was just on the over on the speakers, or over in their not speakers, uh uh their walkie-talkie, saying, "Hey, look, he swinged it on one officer. Boom, we got to come down." This and that. That's what caused the person to get tased. Now the question is, okay, you tased once, but do you need to continue to tase him over and over? And no, I mean, to the point where the guy had to go to the hospital. I mean, come on now. To say all that, do I think this is a race related incident? In all honesty, I really don't know. I don't think everything is always a race thing. I don't. We're in an era now where race is going to be one of those easy things to throw in there that will garner a lot of attention, because you have certain media outlets that will say like, "Ooh, race, okay, boom, we got to talk about it," and it will cause a lot before you really know of the logistics. But again, I'm also a man. I'm also African American male. I know race is very much still an issue. Okay, it happens in all avenues, in all work fields. I mean, it happens in law enforcement. It happens everywhere, right? But I'm gonna give you my unfiltered perspective on this and opinion. Is not looking good for the band director. It really doesn't. We will see. We will continue to see this and follow up with this on our socials. But sorry about that, guys. I had to text the wife. But that's just my honest opinion in this. I'll continue to read up on it, post it on our socials at our Smooth Club Media on IG, Threads, our Twitter, well, X, formerly known as Twitter, as well as my social media, because I want to continue to read up on this one. Lastly, before I end this show off, one more story, and this one is in the sports realm. Marcellus Wiley called out Stephen A. Smith for hypocrisy with First Take co-host. Now, this is reported by awfulannouncing.com. And it says here, let's see, what does it say here? Okay. Stephen A. Smith has been incredibly public lately with both his bashing of Max Kellerman as well as his praise of Shannon Sharp. On Wednesday, former ESPNer Marcellus Wiley finally said what so many have been thinking, calling Smith out for the hypocrisy in casting Kellerman aside while also taking Sharp's side when the same happened to him at Fox Sports. Now, what for people that are trying to, saying, okay, what are they talking about with this whole, similar to what happened to Max, to what happened to Shannon Sharp. So we all had first thought that Shannon Sharp had just decided to leave Undisputed on FS1 because of issues with Skip Bayless, his co-host, his fellow debater. The rumors was happening, behind the scenes that Shannon wasn't really having the freedom to what's the word I'm looking for? Freedom to discuss exactly what he wanted to debate with Skip, right? He wasn't really getting that much freedom on the show, and it was more like, Skip tells you this, Skip says this, whatever. Now, that's what we had. That was a rumor. After 7 years, Shannon said, goodbye to Undisputed, and people were saying, okay, what's next for Shannon? Because Shannon he's very successful. Shannon's very successful. Shannon, Hall of Fame football player, 3 Super Bowl rings, sports analyst, has a successful podcast called Club Shay Shay, which is on Volume Sports, owned by Colin Coward, his former FS1 colleague. I'm a huge fan of Shannon Sharp and his podcast. Now, Stephen A. Smith had said on the Joe Budden podcast not too long ago that Shannon did not want to leave Undisputed. He didn't want to leave. They pushed him out. So, of course, all the articles had said, okay, Shannon was really fired from FS1. Fired from Undisputed, Skip's show. So technically saying Skip, pushed him aside and left him high and dry. Now, going over to their competitors at ESPN, First Take, which originally was Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, after many years on that show, ended up leaving. The rest is history. So it's been Stephen A.'s show forever. I mean, for the longest, and it's been there, ESPN's #1 rated sports show on there. Steven had been bouncing around with hosts. At first, he had a host, Max Kellerman. Now, Max Kellerman, I was always familiar with Max in boxing, and Max was very great at what he did. In sports, he had a radio show, whatnot. Very, very, very knowledgeable guy. He was Skip Bayless' replacement. It was good, but it just wasn't, for me watching the show. It just wasn't this, wasn't the same. But a lot of people enjoyed Max. After Max ended up, he didn't stay too long on First Take. He ended up leaving First Take, still on ESPN. He started a show with Jay Williams and Keyshawn Johnson, morning weekday morning show. And he also hosted his own show, which I believe was canceled after 2 seasons. Also, his the show with Keyshawn and Jay Williams was also canceled. A lot of people were saying that Stephen A. Smith screwed Max Kellerman. Okay, that's what the reports have been saying, and Stephen has come publicly saying it just wasn't a great mesh with Skip with Max Kellerman, and so that's why first people are, and I'm not saying a lot, but a good number of people, including Marcellus Wiley, is saying, dude, Stephen A., you're being a hypocrite because, for one, you did the same thing to Max Kellerman that Skip did to Shannon, but yet you're saying Shannon was oh, it was wrong what happened, this and that and the other. So that's where that's coming to play. So okay. To say all that, it says here, okay, Stephen A. Smith gets a salute from all, especially me, because I respect his work ethic, Wiley said on his podcast. But right now, no love and no respect for your ethics. Smith has been on a PR campaign basically since he released his memoir last year, taking newfound his new memoir, which I haven't read, but I know it's pretty, I heard it's very, very great. I also tune into his podcast, Stephen A. Smith Show, which is very great. Again, I'm a fan of Stephen A, so I'm a brag a little bit on that. But taking newfound freedom at ESPN, Smith has launched his own podcast and has been a guest on many others. And he has been far more loose with what he says as well. Lately, the three subjects have been Sharp, Kellerman, and for what reason Terrell Owens. I have heard that in the rumors him and T.O. had some beef. Smith believes Sharp was pushed out at Fox Sports and Undisputed by Skip Bayless. That's his words. Since then, Smith has recruited Sharp to join First Take on a weekly basis, which has been pretty good. Shannon has been struggling lately, continue saying the wrong name. He always accidentally say Skip. And it's funny because recently, the last time I saw, he said Skip. He got so frustrated, he about to break down. Like, dang. That's a big man. You don't want to get angry. That's a big guy. You don't want to get angry. But also, it's lobbied for Sharp to potentially replace him as a host down the line, which I think would be a really great thing. Because again, Shannon is just in my eyes, he's like another just top tier sports guy, like Michael Strahan. Michael Strahan has built his career post NFL to the point where he's extremely successful. Good Morning America, Emmy winning, all that good stuff. Okay, at the same time, Smith had continued to pile on Kellerman. Most recently, Smith said on the Joe Budden podcast that First Take flatlined with Kellerman. He also challenged Kellerman's credentials, noting that because Kellerman didn't come up as a traditional journalist or athlete, his perspective was less valuable. I beg to differ on that one because, look, I am no Max Kellerman. Max made it to not be a traditional, in Stephen A. Smith's words, traditional journalist or athlete, and to make it to where he's at now says a hell of a lot. I do think that some of our best sports commentators and analysts are the fans, people that might not always be the athlete, but just know the game. Same goes for politics, right? A lot of political pundits and commentators and analysts have never even served office, but they know the system, they know the game. So I disagree with those comments if that's true. The beef with Owens revolves, like, okay, I'm not gonna go into the Owens thing, but Wiley pointed out that the pattern in these comments basically that Smith can't have it in two ways. He wants to hold himself up as a do-gooder when it comes to Sharp while cutting Kellerman loose at the same time. He wants to have the last word on Owens while also refusing to address the situation. He wants to be publicly nice to Kellerman while also getting up controversy for content. Now, Wiley said, okay, Max wasn't the problem. We've got love for you. We really do, but you ain't gonna get more love out of us hating on Max. Wiley hosted a drive time radio show on ESPN LA with Kellerman for years. He competed against Sharp in the NFL, but he also has worked on ESPN and Fox, giving him insight into all. And that is true. Marcellus Wiley, I remember watching a show when he was on ESPN, but also on FS1. He hosts one called, I think, Speak Yourself or something. Oh Lord, I can't remember to save my life. He hosted alongside with Jason Whitlock. That guy, I tell you, talking about headache. That's another story, man. I gotta have a story strictly on freaking Jason Whitlock with his corny ass. He's a lot, but here's my take with Marcellus. Marcellus is no longer in the corporate media realm, right? He's not in the TV network industry where you might get over 1 million views a day or high six figures per day. He's not in that realm. He's done it with ESPN, went to FS1. He got he's no longer with them. I don't know what had happened, but he's no longer with them. So now he's going more of the independent route on an indie kind of side. It's a streaming service. His show is last time I checked, it was on a streaming service. He's also building up his YouTube presence, and it's doing very good. But might I say, it's doing really good. Let's see here. So I'm looking on his YouTube, not YouTube, his Wikipedia page right now. Okay, so he left FS1 in July of 2022. In 2022, Wiley began hosting the More to It podcast as part of the Dan Patrick Podcast Network. He is also hoping to start a new show on Fox in the future. That was in 2022. There was a streaming service where his show was on, and I am trying to pull it up real quick. Let's see. Yes, he was on there was a streaming service that was owned by the guys that hosted it was a show called like Sports Science or something. And again, it was a bit corny in my opinion, but yeah, it wasn't like it was a huge adjustment from, here we go, Brinks TV is where it was at. And the name of his show is called Never Shut Up. Has so far 84 episodes on there. Is it still currently up? Oh, 85 actually, 85. But this show was is owned by a former can I find it? No, can't find it. But it was owned by another former personality that had a show on ESPN, and like everybody else, will start start going on the independent route, because streaming is the future. I will say that. I'm not mad at it at all. Streaming is the future, and it's a great investment because it can, it's unfiltered. You can create it however you want. Again, it's investing in yourself, so I'm not mad at it. Since then, he has been hosting that show. He has his own podcast as well. But I say all that to say Marcellus is always looking for ways to stay relevant in the public eye. Always, whatever you can do to help garner some attention on my side. And what he's doing is true. He accomplished that. He made it work. You got different news outlets, top news outlets now that's reporting what he had said. And let's be honest. I mean, it just even says more that Stephen A. Smith is hella famous, because if you share publicly about disagreeing with him, it's going to get published. And now you are going to get some, maybe even more viewers, because you're going to find people that agree with you, because a lot of people dislike Stephen A. Smith. I mean, he's always, everybody doing great stuff is going to have their haters. Everybody that's very controversial is going to have their haters. Again, he's a controversial cat, so he's going to have his haters. But my response for Mr. Wiley, hey, just keep doing what you're doing, boss. I mean, it again, you have a platform where you share your unfiltered opinion, just like this platform right here. So I can't be mad at you. Keep winning out, keep growing. Hope the brand continues to build up and grow. But that's all, guys. That is all I got for y'all today. Okay. Be sure to tune in to the Arrington Gavin podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays via podcast at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, via podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Also at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via YouTube on our YouTube channel, R Smooth Club Media, Facebook page, R Smooth Club Podcast, and R Smooth Club Media on X, formerly known as Twitter. Continue to check it out. Support. I truly appreciate it, y'all. Till next time, y'all be easy. Oh, and also tune into my weekly radio show in your city on WNSB Hot 91.1 FM, the Soul of VA, airs Sundays at 12 p.m. If you're not in the Hampton Roads area and you can't turn that radio dial to 91.1 FM, no worries. You can download the free app, WNSB app, or you can listen live online at WNSB.org. I truly appreciate it, y'all. Till next time, y'all be easy. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave. Goodbye.